Okay. Hi, chemistry students. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run a super simple experiment that goes ahead and that we're talking about how carbon can go ahead and can affect water. So basically what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be adding carbon dioxide into the water by exhaling into the water in order to go ahead and to kind of simulate what kind of happens in the ocean, so that we can go ahead and you guys can make some observations. So before we start, we have to take some initial measurements to see where we're starting from. So what I have in my beaker is I have 150 milliliters of distilled water. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take a pH strip. It looks something like this, right? And in this pH strip, we are going to go ahead and we're going to dip it into the water. And when we dip it, after we dip it into the water, we're going to see which one it best matches. And then just for confirmation, we have a digital one as well, just to kind of double check our measurements and to make sure that we're on the right track. Okay. So we're going to start off with our pH strip. We put our pH strip into our water. It should only take a second, right? And then we are going to go ahead and we're going to take that thing out. And we're going to match it against some of the colors that we see on the box right here. So you guys will see that it matches pretty closely to a 7. So we know that we're starting off with a pH of 7. We're going to go ahead and double check with our digital pH meter. And we should get around a pH of 7 as well, if I calibrated it correctly. I calibrated it earlier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to dip this thing in there. And for some reason, it's a little lower. Let it steady a little bit. And what you guys should see is, oh, you can't see it. It should be about a 6.6, so that is going to be our starting measurements. So we should be around a pH of 7 or around 6.6, so we're somewhere in there. Again, these tools are to kind of estimate the pH, so it's not always 100% exact, right? Because on the first one, I'm just matching colors, so it just depends on your eyes. And then this one has to be calibrated to a buffer solution. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to exhale. So if you guys remember from biology, right, humans go ahead and inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exhale directly into the beaker, and hopefully we see a pH change. And I'm going to go ahead and go one more time just to make sure that we see a pH change. Okay, hopefully that was good enough. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to double check our pH and we're going to see if there is a pH change. So I'm going to start off with my strip. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to grab one of these strips on here. And, okay, just had to double check if I grabbed just one strip. For a second, I thought I grabbed more than one. Okay, dip that in here. Right, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at this. And you will see that I believe we're somewhere in this 4 range. So you guys can kind of go ahead and you guys can kind of look at that. So that would be the range that you are in. So again, we're trying to do our best to like match these colors. It looks like it looks a little bit more like a 4. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to, oh, that might not be a 4. Hold up. That might be a 5. 4 or 5. We'll see. and we'll confirm with our digital pH one. So you remember that our digital pH one, we started off with a 6.6, so hopefully this one we see that same change. So still changing a little. Okay. Oh, it's floating between like a 4.9 and a 5. So right now it's showing 5. So that means that we went from 6.6 to about 5. So that means when I went ahead and when I exhaled into the carbon dioxide solution, right, we went ahead and we lowered the pH. So now what your job is to do is to go ahead and explain why we went ahead and why we saw these changes, right? And you have to go ahead and reference how carbon dioxide interacts with water and what is formed. So clearly we went a little bit more, we clearly lowered our pH. So you guys have to think about, okay, if I lowered my pH, what does that mean, right? And then we have to go ahead and we have to relate it to what you guys also learned about the carbon cycle, about how carbon goes ahead and comes in and out of the ocean, and how the ocean is this big carbon sink, right? And then we can relate to how these changes that we just saw in this small beaker might affect the oceans and the biosphere. Okay, you guys, good luck with your paper, and if you guys have any questions, please don't feel free to ask.